I know that sometimes the kids like to call these videos wrap-up videos, but it's too mainstream for me. I can't do it. We're gonna go from that to talking about this book that I just read called Adorkable. I thought that Adorkable meant the romance between Jean and Michael, but turns out that one of the main characters, Jean, she has this brand thing called Adorkable. She's like really internet famous because she talks about how it's so great to be yourself, but at the same time she's like super hypocritical. She's really judgmental towards the mainstream kids at school. So it's okay to be yourself as long as you don't fit into mainstream society. If you fit into mainstream society, you are all cookie cutter and shit, and you don't have any real opinions and all of that. And she doesn't actually know these people, and let me talk about the plot. So there's this girl named Jean. She's dating this guy named Barney at the beginning of the book. And then there's this guy named Michael who's dating this girl named Scarlett at the beginning of the book. And Michael starts to suspect that there's something going on between Scarlett and Barney. And Barney and Scarlett do get together, and then they end up snogging all the time. It's a British book. I was really hard on Jean, but I will say that I much prefer someone who is just really abrasive and judgmental and has like these strong opinions to a vanilla character. I also like the way it had a good portrayal, a good positive portrayal when it came to sex. It even used the C word. By the C word, I mean clitoris. I don't know if I've ever read a YA book that used that word. Anyway, the book that I'm reading now is The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. I like it so far. There is one thing that annoys me. Damn, where is it? Okay, found it. I feel like this happens on every page, although I'm like 30 pages into it so far. He'll say something, and then he'll say, yep, that's right, and then restate the thing that he just said. For example, so he's talking about going into the bathroom with porn magazines because naked women plus right hand equals happy happy joy joy. Then, next line, yep, that's right, I admit that I masturbate. It's only 26 pages in and we're already talking about masturbation, which I'm all for. Booktube-a-thon happened in July. I participated, and by participate I do not mean that I followed the Twitter because I don't have Twitter, and I didn't attempt the challenges. I didn't post daily update videos but I read more, and so I participated. I meant to read Interpreter of Maladies and Love Medicine, and also Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. I'm not showing you because it's invisible. I would like to point out that I do mean Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison, not to be confused with The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. Oh my god, I confused them once. I accidentally bought the H.G. Wells book instead of the Ralph Ellison book. Like, I don't know, back when I was in junior high, I was like, what the hell is this? This is just a sci-fi book. I don't see any commentary on race. It wasn't what I was looking for. I hate it when I confuse things. Anyways, didn't get to this book, Love Medicine, because there was this book that I started reading before the booktube-a-thon, and I didn't finish it in time, so I figured that I'll just use the booktube-a-thon to continue reading that. And I did manage to finish that book, Deathless, by, actually I don't quite remember her name. So yeah, I read Deathless, I read Invisible Man. read Interpreter of Maladies. Interpreter of Maladies is the book that I most enjoyed. The way I feel about the book is all the other characters in the book, they can get divorced for all I care. I just need to know that the couple in the first story will end up alright. I don't know if other people do this, start like bargaining when it comes to characters' happiness. For example, before I read Mockingjay, I kind of knew that it was going to be bloodbath, a lot of people were going to die. And I said, don't kill off Haymitch and do not touch my Joanna, and I will be fine. I don't care who the hell else dies, even though I was attached to other characters, but those were the two that, off limits. And that's how I felt about those characters. I was like, I need for those people to be happy, because I think that they deserve it. They seem like nice people and they love each other, but unfortunately they lost a child. And because of that, they're kind of like growing apart. They're not talking to each other so much. And I know that a lot of couples get divorced after they lose kids. And it just made me sad because, they loved each other and they just need to work that out. After reading Interpreter of Maladies, I wanted to read more short story collections, which is why I read The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, which is not a short story collection, it's a novel, but it's written by Sherman Alexie, and he writes short story collections, so I figured that I'd start with that book, and then in the future I'd go into his short stories. Yeah, I really like the book. I mentioned before that something annoyed me when he would state something and then say, yep, that's right, and then restate it. I mean, yeah, it was kind of annoying at first, but after a while, I got used to it, and it didn't happen on every page. It happened like every chapter, which was like every 5 pages. So I've been meaning to read Haruki Murakami's works, but I didn't know where to start. Just recently I have this brilliant idea that instead of diving headfirst into a 1,000-page novel that I don't even know that I'll like, why don't I just read some of his short stories? So I started reading Blind Willow Sleeping Woman. And I never got attached to any of the characters or any of the stories. It got to a point where I was forcing myself to read more, so I figured I'd just stop. So I do plan on reading this longer fiction. I hope that I'll be able to be more attached to the stories or whatever, and I'll care about what happens. Yeah, that's what I read this month. So we have 2 YA books, both kind of dealt with some heavy issues at times. The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian dealt with that more, I think, since little Arnold, he had to deal with death, poverty, racism, all kinds of things, identity issues, but that's always in YA, isn't it? And I thought that they both managed to be funny. I read 1.5 short story collections with Interpreter of Maladies and Blind Willow Sleeping Woman. Yeah, 5.5 books. That's good. With 3 done during booktube-a-thon, which was more than I anticipated.